Welcome to episode 61 of Drew's Sports Crew. We are back here now, one after 60. Right? We celebrate episode 60, now 61 here. We are joined by Justin Brenner of the UWM Post. He was on the MLB free agent preview slash recap episode he ran in December. Look, it was interesting time because of the lockout, right? We did right before the lockout began at that time. So, Justin, it's great to have you back on. And how are you doing here on this Sunday morning?
Let me just say it's great to be back on, and I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. Full disclosure, as you heard, we are recording on this Sunday morning, which kind of affects the Brewer Prediction Challenge. As you are hearing this Monday, we'll be able to share our winner via our Instagram story, but unfortunately, I'll share why we can't share the winner yet. You know, the Brewer Prediction Challenge has been tight these past few weeks. Always fun. You'll hear Justin's take. He gets to compete in this week's edition. So, yeah, let's get right into it here. We got to talk, though, about some big announcements, right? If you have not saw, we have our live show in the books right now. It is on for June 3rd, 7 p.m., and this is at the 1212 Sports Pub and Grill. So, if you can make it out to Oshkosh, the 1212, it is... Look, it's a great place. We looked through their menu. Fantastic menu, right? And just to kind of advertise the show a little bit, right? So it's going to be Journey to a Million. That's kind of like our Wednesday, Friday, right? We've been throwing some Wednesday episodes in there. And what we're going to be doing, we are unveiling the new logo and name change announcement. This is going to be exciting. As I've said, been working with my team now for a while on this logo. And let me tell you, it looks fantastic. I'm excited to unveil this on June 3rd. And then also, of course, the name change. But yeah, during the episode, we'll be talking all things NFL and Packer related, right? Being Journey Million, Zach Rouse, Jared Lusky, and myself. And then also, there will be trivia with free prizes. So yeah, you know, it's a June 3rd, it's a Friday night. If you can make your way to Oshkosh, everyone who's listening, anyone who's listening, I recommend to do so. It's going to be a great time. And look, free stuff, excellent food, and sports. I don't think it gets any better than that. But yeah, there's my little plug there. But yeah, more info on our Instagram, @JordanDrew_SportsCrew on that. But also subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? We are almost at 60 subscribers. I know, small number, but we just post the audio on there. We have not implemented that video component yet, as we are mostly on Apple Podcasts, right? Your Spotify and other listening platforms as such. So, yeah, with that here, Justin, now it's your turn. Shout out of the week. Who is it going to?
Thinking about it before, I was thinking Adames, but actually, I'm going to switch it up last minute here and go with Christian Yelich. I know that he has been just killing it lately. I saw a stat. I think it was like the last 7 games he's hitting like 400, and he's got like a couple home runs. OPS is up above, I think, 1.5. He's been killing it lately. Looks like he's finally, the advanced stats has said he's due for a breakout for a long time now, and I think he might finally be hitting stride this season. And it's amazing to see.
It's so weird we have to call it like kind of like a breakout. I'd say, yeah, more of like a comeback, right?
Well, yeah, comeback, but like
I agree, yeah.
After 2 seasons, he's finally back to form,
yeah.
So hopefully, I mean,
the big thing for me has been the exit velo, right? Exit velo is through the roof right now. I know, like, especially in that Cincinnati series, like he was hitting the ball 106, 111,
yeah, hard hit balls. He's been doing really well. It's just he's been getting unlucky. I think
and a lot of the concern too was with his back, right? I mean, when we saw him struggle in 2020, he wasn't right. I mean, he should have been shut down. It almost looked like with how his back was reacting, because he couldn't just catch up to the pitches, and then it seemed he was tough on off speed, right? But he's still been like these past few years, he still has been solid at getting on base. It's not like even the last year, right? Power numbers were way down. His OBP was still above average, right? He was walking at above average rate. And I mean, there's still, great aspects to his game, even when he's like not who he is. And that's what makes him such a great player, right? So talking now here, let's go to the stats of the week. Or let me say that again here. The stats of the week. Gotta have that emphasis on that S. But
oh yeah,
we do have some good ones here. I love to incorporate, as the Braves are starting to play more series against more teams, they have to give out more rings, right? Because, if you play for them no matter how small it is during the regular season, you do in fact get a ring, right? That's how it works in
Mhm.
sports. And I got some good ones here. Terrence Gore, his career playoff at-bats, 2. He has only 2 career at-bats in the playoffs, but he has 3 World Series rings. How about that?
That's insane.
That is professional runner. That's what he is. A pinch runner.
I would love to have that. I mean, you kidding me?
Yeah, that's insane there. Quentin Berry, another guy, who's the Brewers first base coach right now, was a pinch running specialist. So I found that interesting. Relief pitcher Carl Edwards Jr. So that former Cub, and then he played for the Braves a little last year, and he got his World Series ring last week, May 4th, and he only got 1 out for the Braves last season. 1 out, and he gets his World Series ring. Just found both of those interesting. Still get their rings.
Yep.
Let's talk about this one. This one's one of my favorite. So Wednesday, May the 4th, was the debut of the ball player Bell. And
I love
happy hour. It's
Bell.
Quentin Berry is the guy you got to credit for the Bell, right? There's a very nice story about how he put it together, and he's been the one fixing it, the repairman. As Willie Adames hits a lot of home runs, so it's been broken. But in the debut of the ball player Bell, Brewers beat the Reds, scoring 18 runs on 17 hits, and it was their largest margin of victory, 18-4, ever against Cincinnati. I was at that game. Kyle Farmer hit me a foul ball. That was a treat. So that was quite the game there. And look, the Bell has done its work so far. It made its trip to Atlanta, and it's all stitched up. Credit again, Quentin Berry, learning how to repair it as fast as possible. And look, I love as you said, you love the Bell as well. And the Bell's brought the Brewers good fortune. So we better hope the Bell's there to stay. And next stat here. For shutouts for the Los Angeles Angels, this is for their pitchers. In 2021, they only had 4 shutouts done by their pitching staff. Already in 2022, they have 5 shutouts. So, look, this Angels team has improved. I mean, they've had nice breakouts from guys like Taylor Ward. Syndergaard has rebounded pretty nicely. Ohtani's pitching like a top 10 pitcher in the game, as well as still ranking now as a hitter. So, look, this Angels team might be a force. This might be the year they get over the hump, which might have been something that I didn't even think they might have done, because look, Rendon's back as well. Justin, this Angels team, they could be the division champ. I think playoffs is certainly now, they got to be favored to make the playoffs here. But what do you think about this Angels squad?
It's definitely an interesting thing with the Angels, because they've always had, at least one superstar in Trout, but they've never been able to put it together. But now, like you said, people like Taylor Ward, even Jared Walsh earlier in the season, are starting to step up. And if Ohtani, he's underperforming a little bit hitting right now, not getting as many hits as the team would like. But I mean, even if he steps it up a little bit more, I think this team definitely wins the AL West they're in. I think they definitely win the AL West. I think they just barely will beat out the Astros, and I think they have an opportunity to make a deep playoff run, especially in an AL where you have to worry about the Yankees and the Rays. But I mean, besides the Astros, there's not too much to worry about. Maybe the Twins this year, though. The Twins are an odd case, though. They're good one year and then they're bad the next. So I don't know how they'll play down the stretch. But looking at it early, I think the Angels could definitely win that AL West. Oh,
for sure, right? They're certainly in the question there. Alex Trowbridge, who was on last week, talked about this, because they were batting Ohtani leadoff, and I absolutely hate that they're batting him leadoff. Look, he's not an OBP guy. This is just a quick little rant here. He's a guy, who needs to bat second or third, right? He's gonna be your RBI man. I always said you bat Ward first, you bat a guy like that first, you bat Trout second, you bat Ohtani third, right? And look,
or even Rendon third, Ohtani fourth.
Oh yeah, no, look, you got to give Ohtani opportunities to drive and runs, and right now they're batting him like he's this OBP guy against Joe Madden. Joe Madden does weird things. Look, we point to Corey Seager.
Well, I mean, the intentional walk.
Yeah, that's Joe Madden. Let's talk now. Next stat here: Pat Connaughton. He passed Ray Allen for the second most made 3-pointers in Bucks history, playoff history, I should say. So
yeah,
add that in there. So yeah, Bucks playoff stat. Look, Pat Connaughton's been here for a while now, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been one of those unsung heroes. I think if you look back.
I love Connaughton personally. Sorry if I cut you off there.
No, you're good.
I love him. I mean, the dunk contest a couple of years ago, that was amazing to watch.
Yelich.
I'm happy that he's hopefully getting his due. I mean, this year he had a pretty good year. I was happy to see that he seems like he kind of, made a pretty big step up, 3 more points per game this year. A lot of the other numbers look the same, but he's really kind of free throw numbers are up. He's really kind of putting it together, and
with Middleton out right now too.
Yeah, and with Middleton out right now, and he's kind of being that he has that. I feel like he has that next man up mentality right now, and which is really good because I think it is a contract year for him, and I would like the Bucks to lock him down for a couple more years.
Oh, for sure. That's my concern because he could go get starter money somewhere else. He could go make 10 to 15 mil, maybe even a year.
There are plenty of teams that would probably pay for him.
It's like Bobby Portis, just like last year, right? People would pay. Hopefully he takes that, that discount, right?
Well, a lot of people thought, including myself, thought Bobby would leave.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
no, he takes that discount. Very nice. Next one here, last one. Bucks stat again. The get-in price for Bucks Game 3 was $52 only, right? And I say only there because meanwhile, the get-in price for the Warriors Game 3 in San Francisco, $325 for a semifinal Game 3.
Yep.
It was a great game. Look, I mean, it might have been worth it there with the Warriors blowing out the Grizzlies at home. So that was a phenomenal game.
Worth it for the Warriors fans.
Yeah. But look,
I think great games are close battles, but like the Bucks and Boston. But
yeah, which we'll talk about later.
You gotta look at the star power. I mean, well, one, Golden State, where they play, there's a lot more people with money and there's a lot more people. And you got to think you're seeing Ja Morant, you're seeing Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, a lot of huge names. You come to Boston, Milwaukee. It's Milwaukee, so it's a smaller city. Not as much money is flowing, smaller market. And yes, you're seeing guys like Giannis and like Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, but compare anybody but Giannis to people like Steph Curry, and they're going to be smaller. So you're really paying
just
for
big market versus small market at the end of the day. It's exactly how it rolls. Anxious to see what the Game 5 price is, get-in price for when it's in at the Garden, TD Garden in Boston. So
probably higher than Milwaukee.
Oh, yeah, for sure. We'll have to wait and see there. But hey, on this day now, Monday, May 9th, 2022 is the date. But we're going back here to 1901 to start. Cleveland's Earl Moore. He no-hits the Chicago White Sox in 9 innings, but he loses in the 10th, 4-2. So the team overall loses, of course, but he gets the loss when he no-hit a team for 9 innings. Look, that's baseball sometimes, and it goes back to 1901 too. On this day here, 1937, the Reds beat the Phillies 21-10. Maybe we should say the Bengals. They beat the Eagles there if it's 21-10 there. But Ernie Lombardi, he does go 6 for 6 in that game. On this day in 1973, for the second time in his career, Johnny Bench hits 3 home runs in a game. On this day, I found this one enjoyable. In 1984, the Chicago White Sox, they beat the Milwaukee Brewers 7-6. I know the Brewers lost, but listen, in 25 innings that game was. This game started on May 8th. So that started on this day, Sunday, but it ends on this day for today, Monday, May 9th. So we end up using it there as on this day for the May 9th. Look, wonder how long this game actually went, the game time. I do not have that stat for you. But look, talk about a 25 inning game, 7-6. We've seen some crazy 18, 19 inning games these past few years for the Brewers, but 25 innings, Justin. Oh my goodness.
I cannot imagine. I love baseball, but 25 is a little bit too long for me.
You're almost getting 3 games. That's all I'm saying. So you got weekend series in it.
All right. It looks like I did see that it said it took over 8 hours and 6 minutes to complete.
A treat.
Doesn't have any thing beyond that, so there must not be an actual complete
insane
thing. It is the longest game in MLB history. And suspended after the 17th inning. So, but I could not imagine. I I think when I was really young, if you remember Prince Fielder's walk-off home run with that famous picture,
Yep.
I was at that game, and we
Oh.
were about to leave because I think it was like the 13th inning, or it was whatever inning he hit the home run, and he said if it goes one past this inning, we will leave because we weren't going to wait that long. And luckily, he hit that home run, and I got to see that play. But I could not imagine a 25 inning game. I like I said, I love baseball, but after about 9 innings, unless I'm at the park, I'm kind of done. I mean, extra innings is fun to watch, but
yeah,
I've
I do
watched
agree.
the full game already, it's a little much.
Yep, but baseball's baseball. I probably would have stayed. I would have tried to stay the whole 25 innings. That's just who I am. I don't leave till the results
if I'm at the park, it's a little bit different, but
yeah, TV wise, it's a tough watch. It has to be in the background or something, right?
Yeah.
But here we go. On this day in 1995, the Cleveland Indians tie a record of scoring 8 runs before making it out. They do beat the Minnesota Twins there 10-0. And then on this day, 2010, here's a great memory, a Mother's Day memory. So yeah, happy late Mother's Day here to all mothers listening to the show. Our mothers, of course, but on this day, 2010, Oakland A's Dallas Braden, he becomes the 19th pitcher to throw a perfect game, and they won 4-0 versus Tampa Bay. Yep, that was on Mother's Day back in 2010. So good stat there, and that wraps up on this day. So let's go here to the weekly sports talk here, Justin, and we're going to start in the world of Green Bay Packer football, right? We're going to talk about, look, the draft took place. We talked about the draft last week. We're not going to rehash those picks, but we're going to talk about the signings that took place for the undrafted free agents, right? You got to remember, a lot of guys don't get drafted here, even though there are 7 rounds. So
yeah,
we're going to talk about it here, and then we're going to go into talking about the draft signees, right? They were able to secure those guys. So first, I'm going to read some of the free agents here. Look, Kiki Chisholm, a wide receiver out of Missouri, he did get signed by the Packers, and he's been known as a big physical wideout with nice ball skills who can truly run. So he's going to be a nice guy for this Packers, maybe even if it's just practice squad this first year, but he's 6'5" and he's 214 pounds. So look, that's always going to be nice. And they already got Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, and then some Moritori. So look, that's going to be an interesting one there. Danny Davis out of Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
Everyone's got to love that one. Anthony Turner out of Grand View. Then also Trey Sterling out of Oklahoma State, or a safety there. I'm just going to read through these. We'll talk more about the other ones. Then Cole Schneider, a guard out of UCF. Caleb Jones, a tackle out of Indiana. I always love you're able to secure some of these offensive linemen on a deal like this. Then Chauncey Manick out of Louisiana, an outside linebacker. And then we got a couple more here. Tyler Goodson, running back out of Iowa. Akil Byers, D tackle out of Missouri. George Moore, an O-lineman out of Oregon. Rayleigh Texada, cornerback out of Baylor. BJ Baylor, running back out of Oregon State. And yeah, so like overall, I mean, there's a few more guys here, but just to kind of talk about the main guys we talked about, I want to talk about those receivers, right? This is going to be the big story. Mm-hmm. Danny Davis, Kiki Chisholm, and Anthony Turner. Look, what were your thoughts on these signings? I was a fan of what they were able to do in the undrafted free agent signings. So what did you think?
Yeah, I haven't kept up too much with their undrafted free agency. I did see the Danny Davis signing though, which I loved. The receivers is a big thing. I was thinking about it last night. There's a lot of receivers right now on their roster. I would say that I want to say there's probably about 5 that have a guaranteed. I know that there's not a lot guaranteed in football, but I'd say there are about 5 players that have a guaranteed spot, and that's Christian Watson, Sammy Watkins, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb, Amari Rogers. I'd say they have a guaranteed spot. After that, though, I think any spot is up for grabs.
I like that, yeah.
I mean, you'd like to say these 2 draft picks have a guaranteed spot, but I mean, if they get outperformed in camp, they might just be delegated to a practice squad. You never know. They probably, but it's definitely an uphill battle for the undrafted free agents. But I love an undrafted free agent who comes in and does big things. So I'm hoping we see that. It'd be nice if Danny Davis makes the team. At least get to see him for 1 game. So even if he's on the practice squad, that'd be all right. But I don't know. I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to I'm excited for the roster. I'm a huge football person, so I'm excited for football to be back.
Yeah. Fantasy football comes back too. We are going to be covering that a lot. It's going to be exciting. Look, some of these other signing, like talking about the offensive lineman we talked about, hopefully this brings in some competition, right? Because I think always good competition in the spring/summer is going to make, even better men in the fall. So I'm looking forward to that because, look, they drafted a lot of offensive linemen, they got. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this goes there with the Packers. And yeah, we'll be giving updates here during summer about what we hear from camp, all that good stuff. So stick around always, of course, for the sports crew and that. But we got to talk about the Packers and the draft signees as well. So they went out, right? You got to sign those draft picks, right? You draft them is one thing. Signing them is the next thing. They wasted no time. They signed on Thursday. This was already last Thursday. They signed their 2 first-round picks in Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt. And then they also were able to sign some other guys, of course, that were drafted. But right now, it's Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Zach Tom, and Rasheed Walker, the 4 who are currently not signed. And this is as of Friday, so I got to make sure that they still aren't signed. I don't think those guys have signed yet, though, Justin. I don't know what you've seen.
No, as of yesterday and a little bit I've looked a few minutes ago, they have not yet signed. Which I'm not worried about too much. It's only been about a week or two after the draft. I mean, they have time to negotiate and sign their contract.
That's another thing I want to point out because look, Walker and Wyatt are currently 2 of the 3 first-round picks across the NFL to have signed, and that was I think that there's more guys now, but the point is there's not a lot of guys who have signed. So
yeah, look, they signed very quick.
No worries there for the Packers. Just wanted to point out that some of these guys are still not secured yet.
And there's about
Eric Stokes last year. Listen, yeah. Eric Stokes, he signed June 3rd last year. So
yeah,
well, they'll be okay. But
there's plenty of time. They're in camp right now, so they've got stuff going on.
Last Friday, we did get to see the rookie class on the field, so that was good. Matt LaFleur got to work with the rookies and see what he's got. I just want to take a quote from him here. He said it's like getting a new bunch of toys.
Yeah.
So, that's the way he wants to look at it, right? I mean, you got more weapons, right, to see how you can utilize these guys in the offense or even defensive, right? Talked about last week, even that Joe Barry came out a winner in the draft when you get guys like Walker, Wyatt, and others. I think that's exciting there. But anything else here before we talk about the Packers and the Giants squaring off in London?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay, so let's get into this here briefly. Packers, they announced that game will be October 9th, and that game kickoff is set for 8:30 a.m. So, look, I personally, right, I don't know. Well, we've already talked about this on the podcast. Everyone, we're not a fan of this, that Packers are playing in London solely based on you're taking away a home game from Lambeau. You can't do that. And now it's like 8-8 in a neutral game, and I don't not a fan of it, but they did reward the Packers. I feel that they made the opponent, let's say, an easier opponent, right? In the Giants. It's still a travel. It's still right. I know a lot of media people who have played. I think I point out Pat McAfee was not a fan of this at all, and then we've talked about it, right? Like players aren't a fan of this, so. It's certainly an interesting, of course it's, generate, NFL internationally, more revenue, right? Mm-hmm. But I don't know what your thoughts are on it. I am against it, but, Packers, they probably have to make a trip soon because there's a lot of Packer fans internationally. But what were your thoughts here, Packers going to London?
I'm not a fan of the London games personally. I mean, you have to wake up at 8:30 on a Sunday, and I hate doing that. I hate waking up really early, which is hilarious because a lot of my work shifts start at 5:45, but that's because when we were making the schedule, those were the only ones left up for grab. But I hate waking up early. I don't like the London games. I don't know why. It's just they've always been a thing for me. It's just I'm not waking up earlier on a Sunday unless I've got church than like 10 a.m. And the fact that they're taking away a game from Lambeau, which is one of the most, if not most iconic sport or football stadium and one of the most iconic stadiums in football, at least United States sports. One of the most iconic stadiums in the United States, I'll say that. That really sucks. I get that they can't take it away in an away game because then they'd have 9 games at home and then 7 on the road with a neutral location. But I wish they would have done it next year when the Packers had one more road game, so they could have made that a neutral game. Because taking away a game from Lambeau is it's horrible. I mean, look, that's every game at Lambeau sells out, and now you're taking away a sellout game at Lambeau for a game that will probably sell out in London, but that's taking away money from a small team in a small city.
Yeah, the city of Green Bay hurts from this, right? As you mentioned, look, the fans hurt because, look, Lambeau Field has the greatest home field advantage in all of the NFL based on, temperature, fan base, right?
January.
The atmosphere. Yeah. And I know this game's in October, but still, it's week 5, Sunday, October 9th. But look, it still hurts the Packers here. But, Justin, wrap up here. You want to go with Packers? We'll talk about more with the schedule when it's released, the 17 opponents. Because, we do have the opponents, but we don't have the weeks of everything else, and that comes out May 12th. So we'll be covering that. And you're looking forward to that too, right? So
yes,
we are here. We'll be covering it, of course, on the sports crew. But without anything else here, before we talk baseball.
No, I'm ready.
All right. So with that here, let's talk about the Milwaukee Brewers. And the Brewers, they have been hot again. They've been hot, it seems, these past few weeks, and this is awesome. Schedule got easier, but they've been able to make the most of it, and that's what you need to do. Great teams capitalize on times like this. And look, the offense. This is, like we talked about, the bell. It is, the bell has been the story. And wow, Yelich has been hot. Tellez, hot. Adames, hot. So, having those 3 guys. Urias is back, and Urias is doing Luis Urias things. Hunter Green takes him deep on a 99-mile-per-hour fastball. Look, this has been phenomenal by the Brewers. The offensive approach, I think, is the greatest story. It just seems, with the fastball, right? They've been able to really capitalize on the fastball, I'd say. But it's just been, we talked about having 2 hitting coaches now this year, but they've been really able to just keep their hands in on the fastball, right? Make a nice approach, take it the other way if they need to, not focusing on pulling the ball every at bat. And that's put together winning at bats, I think, for the Brewers. I think also like the plate discipline, right? That's been pretty good. I know they struck out a good bit against Hunter Green there on Thursday, but like this Braves series, other than Max Fried, kind of cooling them down, it felt. But Justin, what have you thought so far about the Brewers? This past few weeks offensively, it's looked great.
Oh, it is. It has looked amazing. Early season start wasn't too great, but the Brewers, and again, the Bell and the series against the Reds definitely helped. But they're first in runs, first in RBIs, tied for the lead in home runs. I believe they're 6th in OPS. They're first in slugging percentage. They're looking really good. The average is still a little bit lower than I would like it to be, the team average, but there's not too much to complain about. And the strikeout numbers are there, but that is something that if you've been a Brewers fan for a while, that this team, no matter what, they always seem to strike out. But I'm just happy that they're producing runs and they're winning, and that's all I can really ask for, especially when the offense is looking better than it was last season.
Yeah, look, I credit, getting co-hitting coaches. I love this. I talked about this in my Brewer previews and even in the offseason. Connor Dawson, Ozzie Timmons, both of those guys, having one be more analytical, the other being, more, your traditional hitting coach. And I think that has been the story. Great hiring there. And look, Brewers, they had 20 home runs in 6 games in that 6-game stretch versus the Pirates and Reds. That's a record for any 6-game stretch of a season in franchise history. That could have been a stat of the week as well. But look, you touched on it great. The Brewers, they've been firing on all cylinders. And let's talk about the Brewer prediction challenge here. It got a little interesting, right? There were 6 games on the slate. Alex he said 5-1. And right now they are 4-1, and I went 4-2. So It depends on how they do on Mother's Day here. The game kicks off. First pitch, 12:35, and we don't know the result yet. So as I said, we're going to have to let you guys know what happens there. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Brewers to win. I don't, Brewer Prediction Challenge doesn't mean much in the long run. It's about the Brewers winning games here. So, of course, I'm rooting for the Brewers. But if they do lose, I do win Brewers Prediction Challenge week 4, as I predicted 4-2. I usually am the one who goes 5-1, but I let Alex go first, and he took my 5-1 spot, and I couldn't go 6-0 because, look, they're playing the defending World Series champs at Atlanta. So, at that point, I had to be reasonable. But look, I'm still excited because Brewers have been playing well, one of the best teams right now in baseball. They're hot. But let's go into the Brewer Prediction Challenge here. So, Justin, how this works, I'm going to read you the 6 games they got going on this upcoming week in baseball, and you're going to tell me the first record that comes to your mind. How do you think they'll perform in these 6 games? So we have 2 3-game series here for this year, for this week, I guess. It's 3-game series at Cincinnati versus the Reds. 5:40, 5:40, and 11:35 are the first pitch times. So it's an early Wednesday game there. Off day Thursday, rare off day, I should add. And then they travel to Miami. They do a 3-game series there. 5:40, 5:10, and 12:40. Weird times there. So what do you think here, Justin? How do you think they're going to perform in these 6 games?
I hate going, 6-0, but I have to say 6-0. I don't see them losing against the Reds because, the Reds have 3 wins this year. And then they've got Lauer, Burns, and Woodruff against the Marlins. I see them going 6-0 this week.
Yeah, Marlins have struggled offensively, which has been a story. That ballpark sucks for hitting. That's been
terrible.
We get to see an Avi Garcia reunion a little bit. That'll be fun. But look, this Reds team's not good. They won a game. They were able to win game 1 of the doubleheader, and then they proceeded to lose, and they won game 1 of the doubleheader.
Sorry, 4 wins. I did not mean to disrespect.
Did you see why they won the first game of the doubleheader? They had a 7-run inning because the Pirates ran out of catchers, so they had to put Josh Van Meter behind the plate, who hasn't caught in Major League. He's an infielder, right? Infielder, outfielder, utility man, and they just had to throw fastballs because look, this is a. You think this guy
can't do anything else? Yeah, he can't block anything.
Game 1 of the doubleheader, they had him in there. They gave up 7 runs in the inning. He does. So, talk about the Reds getting a gift there. Again, they need all.
Do the Pirates have?
So here's the story. Andrew Knapp gets ejected, and then their backup catcher, one of their other catchers, Roberto Perez, IL, and then their catcher who was in. Then what happens is. He gets injured. He gets injured running the bases. So Josh Van Meter. And then Andrew Knapp, they ended up being okay because Andrew Knapp caught game 2 of the doubleheader, so they were all good there. But he got ejected. So that was a story there. Reds get a gift there. Reds win that game, and then they proceed to lose the night. So their win streak lasted for only a couple hours, but it's okay. Brewers are going to take care of them. I think they sweep that. And then I can't go 6-0 because he went 6-0, so I'll go 5-1. So. I say maybe they drop one in Miami. Maybe Sandy Alcantara is going to give a nice outing, or Jesus Luzardo. Look, Marlins can develop pitchers. They've always been able to. So
my only worry is that Sunday game with Woodruff because he's been a little shaky. But they're facing Eliezer Hernandez, who's doing much better. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's been a little bit struggling as of late, but yeah, we'll wait and see there. 6 games out of the road. A 9-game road trip they're on right now, and they're on game 3, of course, was Sunday of that road trip. But yeah, hopefully we don't get any rainouts in Cincinnati. Look, making up games is just gonna hurt this squad, hurt both teams. But look, Reds aren't competing for much right now, if anything, competing not to be one of the worst teams in baseball. But
worst teams in baseball history.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
On track. Yeah,
they're on a good pace right now. So. You'd imagine they break out of the funk when Votto comes back, India comes back, right? There's they've dealt with a lot of injury right now, but otherwise, this team is still, you're Brandon Drury as your 2-hitter. That this has AAA lineup all over it, other than Pham and Moustakas. You can only imagine Pham gets dealt at the deadline. Same with Moustakas if some contenders interested there. But wow. But yeah, that wraps up the Brewer Prediction Challenge there.
I do want to say one thing for Prediction Challenge. The stats are not exactly on your side to win this week. Or the the week that will be wrapping up today is the Brewers are the best team in baseball history on Mother's Day. They have a 34-20 record.
Yep, and then everyone, you always see the Easter moment, right? You see Dale Swain's home run. I believe they show that like every Easter. You know what else you see? Bill Hall's Mother's Day walk-off
with the pink bat. Yep.
You see that every year, every Mother's Day. No, I have not seen it yet this Mother's Day, but when I go on my phone after, I guarantee I'll see it.
Mm-hmm.
Great moment in Brewers history, and
Manny Pena also with the 3-run.
Oh yeah, against the Mets.
Run. Yeah, Freddie Peralta made his major league debut and struck out 13 batters.
I believe that was at Colorado too. That was in Coors Field.
Colorado. It was in Colorado. Yes.
Like Brewers have all the awesome Mother's Day memories. Like, I'm certainly rooting for them. Like I said, Brewers winning comes first. Prediction challenge comes later. So, Rowdy Tellez, I think might win NL Player of the Week. So Brewers might have back-to-back players win Player of the Week. So I think that's awesome. Well, the Adames winning it last week, and then hopefully Tellez wins it this week.
Andrew
McCutchen, gotta talk about that. Andrew McCutchen is in fact on the COVID IL. He does have COVID. Yeah. He needs 2 negative tests in a span of 24 hours to return. So what happens there? Mike Brosseau, he does report. He comes back, and I believe from Nashville. So he is now with the squad. He made it there in the 3rd inning, is what we heard, and that's going to be good. Keston Hiura gets optioned down as Luis Urias comes back. Look, Hiura hits that home run, but it was certainly due
on him on YouTube, and then they put him down.
Yep. But at the end of the day, I think this is a statement. Look, Rowdy Tellez won that job outright. I know there was platoon talks, which didn't make sense, as Rowdy Tellez actually handles left-handed pitching well, and Hira's career OPS versus lefties is, I believe, over 200 points worse than his career OPS versus righties. So that was a platoon that was never going to work. I know they thought it would. Talking defense, look, Colton Wong and Lorenzo Cain, who are usually just strong suits defensively, have not looked like the strong suits defensively that they are these past few weeks. So that's something to keep in mind. I think the Cain thing, he's getting older. Atlanta, like McCutchen was even talking about the ball plays funny, has funny hops in Atlanta. So at the end of the day, look, both teams are making errors these past few weeks or past few days, I believe, in Atlanta. So with that, I think that's something to keep in mind. But Colton Wong, I think, will be fine defensively. Lorenzo Cain, last year of contract, he's looked abysmal. 175 average, OPS at 449, OPS plus at 32. Look, he looks, I hate to go this far. He looks like Jackie Bradley Jr. last year. Just overall, it's not looked good. But I think with Cain, he's such a smart baseball player that that part doesn't worry me as much. But he doesn't look good, and he's not even an everyday player anymore. He's a guy you start 3 or 4 days a week. Tyrone Taylor has played phenomenal, and I credit him, for how he's done. So he's going to be that guy. I think, playing him in center. Renfro's got that cannon in right. So overall, go ahead.
I think Cain, and I love Cain, but I think he is done after the season, unfortunately. I mean, just looking at the Brewers minor league, their top 3 prospects are all outfielders.
Mitchell, it's Garrett Mitchell's season next year.
I love Garrett Mitchell.
Frelick.
But he's actually 3rd. He's right below Sal Frelick and Jerry Weimer on the prospect list. So
look, Joey Weimer's a solid prospect. I know we didn't really plan to talk prospects, but Weimer's a solid guy. I do have some concerns with his swing that I hope that they're corrected, because he looks solid, but I'm afraid we can see kind of like Keston Hiura. Maybe he starts off hot, but I think he's a guy you can figure out I see some flaws in his swing, some flaws in his game where I think maybe like Keston Hiura, you could his strikeout numbers would be absurd right now. So those need to be corrected. Frelick, smooth player all around. And then also, I think Garrett Mitchell's the best out of those 3. And I know he's ranked 3.
His season isn't doing too great right now, but
they moved him up. He's a sweet swinging outfielder. His swing, look what he did in single A, double, or what he did in the lower levels. I think, that's going to translate soon. And I think he'll be ready next year. So that's why I think
that's his ETA is 2023. So I do want to see him. I did like the pick when they picked him. But our track record of first-round picks is not the greatest. So
I was looking through that, and I don't even want to mention some of the first-round picks that were It was supposed to be like the future, right? But now we see, it's okay. The other guys panned out in Burns, Woodruff, right? I know Hader we traded for, but like a lot of these guys we traded for and we developed. So, like Hader
we can develop pitchers very well, and we can develop outfield really well. We've had a logjam in the outfield for the past many years now, ever since that Brett Phillips trade, I'd say.
Yeah.
They've always had at least 4 probably quality starting outfielders.
But first baseman, we're on just a transitional here. First baseman, we're on number 11 since Prince Fielder. We're not gonna name them all here, even though I think we could. But it's an interesting story. Tellez wears number 11 as well. Look, I'm gonna compare his season. I think he's gonna have a 2018 Jesus Aguilar season. That might be. I don't even know. I think that's a really fair comparison. What do you think?
That's a fair comparison. I mean, Rowdy Tellez, he's never had like the really big season. It's funny. I play MLB The Show a lot, and in one of my career modes, I got drafted to the Blue Jays, so I knew who Rowdy Tellez was before he even came to the Brewers. But I always know that he's that kind of big. He has the ability to put the ball in play, but he's never really had a huge season, and I think he's having that breakout season now.
He's never got the at-bats. Now he's
and last year, he came over and he hit 272 at the end of the year with the Brewers. So maybe it's the change of scenery that's working for him. I think he has the chance to have that breakout season, but like you said, I think it needs to be handled with caution at the end of the year, because if it is like that Jesus Aguilar season, what happens after it?
I don't know.
Does he continue, or does he, fall back a little bit?
I think you'll see from him, average will be 250s, 260s, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. OPS plus will be probably like 130, right? 140. Like he'll be above average offensive player production wise. Look, OPS at 162 right now. But I think you'll see a drop off in that OPS plus, obviously, when it comes, because his OPS is not going to be 925. Come around for the whole year, so just to keep that in mind. But like the slate up coming up this week, as we talked about, and with that here, you got anything else Brewers before we go into talking some Bucks?
I do not think so. I think
all right,
everything is covered.
So let's talk about it. Game 2, Game 3 take place. We're not gonna spend much on Game 2. Look, Boston played well. They played their second game there at home. And they played well, to be honest. That was the story. They played. Grant Williams was probably the big story of that game. I think playing Giannis one-on-one. Look, that one on the game, not double teaming. When they double team, Giannis is not that same player he was in 2019. He can't build the wall. He's just going to pass. He's going to find shooters, and Bucks have shooters around him, and that's what happened. Look, Game 3 was. I don't even know what to think about Game 3. Look, Game 3, it felt like the Celtics played so bad. It seemed, and the Bucks maybe weren't the best at moments either, but it felt kind of like a sloppier Game 3, and Bucks. It felt like they won more than 2. Like I can't believe it was only a 2-point game. Giannis played 42, 12, and 8. I thought it felt like the Bucks were up double digits.
Well, they were leading.
Yeah, and they were.
What, by 13 at the end of the third quarter?
Yeah,
I think more than that. But then they had a pretty sloppy fourth quarter. Granted, they still got the win, but when you have a lead like that, you cannot. Especially against a team like the Celtics, you cannot take your foot off the gas by any means on offense or defense. I think you have to stay on them.
Yeah. Holiday taking 30 shots drives me crazy. A little bit.
Yeah.
But again, I know Milton's out, right? So he's taking some of his shots.
Somebody has to pick up the slack.
Yeah. Somebody has to look. Connaughton 4 for 10. He had some threes that were interesting. Grayson Allen could get anything going, only 3. It was 0 for 3. Wesley Matthews 1 for 5. Bobby only had 3 for 9. Bobby didn't play a lot down the stretch. That was that. So 26 minutes only. They opted to go with Wesley Matthews 32 minutes there. I think Portis lost some minutes there with Hill returning too. So I wonder what Bobby Portis' role is going to be here. I don't think it's going to be much. Again, like I've talked about this with Jared and Alex, previous guests on. It's kind of like Serge Ibaka. Look, he's done nothing here in the playoffs, and he's a guy you traded for. You give DiVincenzo. Look, I don't think he matches up well against the Celtics team, and I think the same kind of goes for Bobby. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think against the Celtics, he won't see as much playing time just because they don't really have. They have a lot more younger, athletic guys than those big guys, and Giannis can cover the post pretty much by himself. So I think we see a much smaller unit go out there against the Celtics. But I mean, you face another team that has those bigger men, then Bobby will definitely see an expanded role. But for now, I think he's going to kind of have to sit with about 25 minutes per game.
And I'll take that, and he didn't shoot well offensively, which I think he's due for a big game during game 4. But look, yeah, momentum here is with the Bucks. Tatum, wow, talk about a stinker. He played, it's a classic Jason Tatum game. I always talk about, right? He's going to put up 30 one night, and then he's going to have the 4 for 19 stinker with 10 points that he had Saturday. So that was a story. I think Marcus Smart is also a guy. Look, these guys are inconsistent. Marcus Smart, 9 points, 1 for 8 shooting. And then you have old reliable and Jaylen Brown, like always consistent there. It feels for them other than game 1, but in general, Brown's always their most consistent scorer. 27 points, 8 for 16 shooting. Al Horford shocked. Al Horford, he's a Bucks killer. He always, it seems he always is. 22, 16, and 5. He's just such a smart player, and he makes the right plays. He kind of led that rally in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was the facilitator, he was the scorer, he was it all. I felt for the squad. And what'd you think there? Game 4 defensively.
Me game 3.
Yeah, I meant game 3.
Yeah, no. I thought the Bucks did a fairly good job. But like I was gonna say with Horford, he's seen it all. I mean, he's 35. I don't know exactly how many seasons he's played, but he's seen it all in the NBA. So he's gonna make those smart decisions. He's gonna beat your team any way that he thinks he can. But yeah, no, I thought the Bucks did a good job. Like I said, fourth quarter, I feel like they definitely could have played a little bit more intense defense, but I'm happy with a win, and I will take it any way they can get it, either whether it's by 2 points or 20.
So Jason Tatum finished 0 for 10 against Wes Matthews yesterday. Saturday for game 3.
Yeah, Saturday, yeah.
So, yeah, I just want to point that out. But for the defensive intensity there, but look, okay, the game I accidentally brought up here, game 4. That's going to be tonight, 6:30, that Monday night here on TNT. And that is going to be, of course, at the Forum. So, yeah, Chris Middleton, of course, is still ruled out. We did get an update. He's on track, it seems, to return to the conference finals, is what I've been understanding.
If they make it, yes.
If they make it. I'm saying okay, but
I know.
Bucks up.
They should, but
Bucks up, of course, the series 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
So, again, this game is pivotal here. This game is a must-win, of course, for both squads. For the Bucks, if you win this, you go 3-1. You're up 3-1. You're guaranteed. You have the game 5 in Boston, right? And then, you potentially get another game. You can end this in 6 at the Forum. So, look, these games are crucial for the Bucks, especially game 4. If you're able to just take both at home, that is going to be huge in this series. But yeah, the worst thing, I would hate if this game goes 7. We already had people got gray hair from last year's semis against the Nets. That was
tough.
That was a lot.
Saved by KD's big toe. So
yes, we did. But look, I'm looking forward to keeping following this Bucks squad. I've said, they look great without Middleton, and I think I don't want to get ahead of myself like you said, but look, this squad looks. They look just like last year, or better, I would say. I could even say they look better. Look,
I think they do look a little bit better.
And I just think that goes to like how the team is the team composition. And I think, I'm looking forward to watching more playoff games of this Bucks squad, is all I'll say.
It's a lot of the same team, especially the starters. They're all the same 6, except for Grayson Allen.
And PJ Tucker, not really.
He left. But, other than guys like Serge Ibaka, everybody has played on this team, especially with Wesley Matthews coming back. So I think it's that team chemistry. They've, all these players have played together for at least 2 seasons now, except for Grayson Allen. So
yeah, for
I think
sure.
that team chemistry does a lot too.
let's talk about other series here in the NBA playoffs before we go to trivia now. So
Okay.
Warriors lead the series 2-1 against the Grizzlies. Heat, they lead the series 2-1 as of when we're recording, and the Suns lead it 2-1 as we're recording, and those game fours are taking place on Mother's Day here, 2:30 and 7, so we'll know the results by then. 9 p.m. then West Coast game for the Warriors Grizzlies game 4. That's after the Bucks game, which will be tonight. 9 p.m. and that's also on TNT. Both games there. So yeah, hopefully, I guess to wrap up here, who would you rather have the Bucks face if they make the conference finals? Would you rather have the Heat or 76ers? I'll let you go first.
I would rather have the 76ers. I am still scarred from that loss down in the bubble to the Heat. I know we beat them last year in the playoffs. I think they swept them in the first round, but I don't like the Heat. There's definitely a bit of a rivalry, I think, there, and I don't want to see them again in the playoffs. Worst comes to worst, we see them again. We play them again, and hopefully things end up different this time, but I would rather face the 76ers.
76ers for me, not a doubt. I think you look, Wesley Matthews, we talk about what he just did with Tatum. Look, you throw him on Harden. You have Giannis Lopez in the post. I mean, then you got to worry about Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, those guys. Like Danny Green's going to shoot himself out of the game. I like the Bucks in that series if it becomes 76ers Bucks. But again, we're not trying to get too far ahead, just previewing a little bit there. Okay, lastly here, Justin, are you ready for some trivia?
Yes, I am.
Here we go. So a little grab bag. By that, I mean there's a few different things in here. So let's talk about it here. 5 questions. We're starting with UW Milwaukee. Wow, some basketball, men's basketball. Here we go.
All right.
Who did UWM play on homecoming? I got options if you need them.
Yeah, I need them. I know, like, I can picture kind of like the logo, but I can't get the name. If I could get the options, that'd be great.
All right, yeah, here you go. Okay, so option number 1 is Rhode Island. Option number 2, Eastern Kentucky.
It's Eastern Kentucky.
And there it is. Ding, ding, ding.
I was thinking, I knew it was East something. I just need to hear. As you said, Rhode Island, I was like, is it Eastern Kentucky? And then you said Eastern Kentucky, and I was like, yeah, that's it.
Here we go. You're 1 for 1. True or false? Is this statement true or false? I guess is how I should word this. UWM went undefeated against UWGB this past year. Men's basketball.
Yeah, I think it was. I'm gonna say true.
They did, in fact, go undefeated, right? They beat them both games. They almost lost, which was scary, but Donovan Newby put up a career game. Golston played well. I believe they're PBJ list in both of those games.
Both players leaving too.
Yeah, everyone entering transfer portal right now.
Yeah,
but that'll be interesting when we talk about our preview. If we do a preview next year there, but all right, here we go. So now I got some 2022 Brewers in here. So who leads the Brewers right now in walks? And this is for hitters. I got options. A, Christian Yelich, B, Willie Adames, or C, Colton Wong.
I'm on Buck stats right now, and I can switch to Brewers, but I'm not going to.
Good.
I'm gonna say Yelich. I know he got walked a lot early season, and I know his OBP is prety high considering his average. I'm gonna say Yelich.
This one was a tough one. I would have won Yelich here too. It was actually Willie Adames. He has 16 walks.
Wow.
To Yelich's, I believe, 13 right now. So that's
close.
It's very close. Next one here. How many Brewers have 5+ home runs? I do have options. Do you need them?
Oh, okay. I know I might need them. I know Tellez does. I know Adames does. I want to say there's one.
The options are 2, 3, and 4, if that helps you out.
I know Renfroe does. I'm going to say I know 3 for sure, but I'm just gonna go through. Does Yelich have 5? That's what I'm thinking. I'm gonna go 4.
It was 3. It was Adames, Renfroe, Tellez. You had Yelich, it there. Yelich does not.
He's got 4.
Yep. Yeah. It's That's how trivia is. Sometimes it can be tough.
I should have just went with my gut. Should have been 3.
Look, I've been doing trivia now for a while. That's always you always
I
gotta go with
second
the
guessed
gut.
myself. I wanted to give Yelich the benefit of the doubt.
All right, here's a little tougher one here. Win percentage wise, the worst team in the AL is, of course, you get options here: A, the Boston Red Sox; B, the Oakland Athletics; or C, the Detroit Tigers.
Detroit Tigers.
Detroit Tigers. Ding, ding, ding. You are correct. They're 8 for 8. They're 8 wins, 18 losses. They're 8-18 so far this year. Win percentage 308. Yeah. And they were projected, they weren't projected to do so hot, but they were trendy upwards. They've improved their win totals drastically the past few years. So 3 of 5 for Justin Brenner. Not bad whatsoever. You're very close. You were right there, almost the 5-5, but that's how we roll trivia here on the Sports Crew. That's it can be tough. Tough game. But
only reason I know that Tigers one is because I was talking with my dad 2 nights ago, and we talked about teams that are just
good,
horrible. And the Reds came up, and then I looked in the AL and I saw the Tigers, and I think they had 7 wins at the time, and saw the Tigers and Royals. So that's the only reason I know that one.
There you go. You still got it right. So awesome work there, Justin. And anything else today before we wrap up here?
No, I think I'm good.
We do want to hear, though, as I mentioned, Justin Brenner is of the UWM Post.
Yes.
Any good stuff coming along? I'll make sure to, of course, link your work down in the bio. Make sure people check that out. Look, Justin did a wonderful video on myself, a video article. Turned out excellent. So thank you again on that. But yeah, go ahead. What do you got in the works?
Yeah, so I've got a draft recap and kind of off-season recap for the Packers coming up eventually. And then I have I'll have a Bucks recap after the Celtics series. And then on Meaty Milwaukee, which we have for classwork here, I should have a story. I'm looking to interview Vin Baker and another Milwaukee Panthers basketball player about the transition into a new coach. So that should be coming up shortly.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. That sounds like some great stuff. I've got to shout out our social medias here before we go. Jordan Drew _sports crew is where you can find our Instagram at JD Sports Pod, the Twitter, YouTube, Jordan Drew the Sports Crew, Facebook, Jordan Drew the Sports Crew. Make sure to find us on there, like that page. We've posted, we've made a little event thing on there for the live show. So, if you're going, make sure to mark it as going. We'd love to see that. But, I guess to wrap up here, Justin, thanks for coming on. Appreciate you coming on.
Thank you for having me back.
Of course, a lot of fun. So, yeah, with that here, thank you all for listening to yet another episode of Drew's Sports Crew, the perfect podcast for you.